My name is Shannon Hotchkiss, and I wanted to tell you about a situation that happened in my family years and years and years ago. My cousin Mike and I were the same age, and we were really close, even though we lived a few hours away from each other. We'd always been really close growing up and got together as often as we could, or as our families could get together. And we were both 17, and we had just graduated from high school, and I was really excited because Mike and I had made plans for him to come down to where I lived, and he was going to hang out for a couple weeks, and we had made all these plans, and we were just really, really excited. And 2 days before he was supposed to come, he and his best friend went to a party, and where they were both drinking, and his friend convinced him that he was fine to drive. So his friend drove, and Mike got in the front passenger seat, and less than a mile from Mike's house, his friend was just unable to negotiate a turn, and his car didn't make it around, and it was actually, the car wrapped itself around a telephone pole on the passenger side, right where Mike was sitting. He died instantly. In fact, he was decapitated. And you know, obviously that's a rough thing for anybody to hear, and I'll just never forget that phone call. You know, there are certain times in your life, no matter how old you are, because this is decades ago, you just don't forget. And I'll never forget the feeling of that phone call. It was just like everything stops. Mike's best friend walked away without a scratch, but as devastating as it was for our family, I still think about, he might have walked away without a scratch, but what is he really walking around with even to this day? The burden of what happened that he has to live with. It was hard for our family, but I can't imagine, if you think about the other side of the situation, what he's been through, and still goes through all these years later, knowing that Mike did choose to get in the car, but he was driving, and he was able to walk away, and that's just got to be really difficult to live with. I think about Mike a lot still. I think when I see people that look like him, or because we're the same age, I think, man, how many kids would he have now? Would he have any grandkids yet? You think about all of those things, because that one decision for him to get in that car, he could have made another decision. He could have made a decision to call somebody. He could have made a decision to call a cab, and he could still be here. And on the flip side, his best friend could have made a decision to man up and say, you know what, I've been drinking, I shouldn't be driving. We should call a friend, we should get a cab. And then they would both still be here. And I think, as much as maybe that's a difficult decision to make, we all know it's the right decision to make. Because what if each one of them had made a different decision? A lot of people's lives would be completely different to this day. And that's what I want to tell you. Just think, no matter if it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, just think about those decisions and work really hard to make the right ones.